Okay, I was going to take about 10 minutes or so to say a few things, and then I want to leave the rest of the time for the student panel. The first thing I wanted to do is profusely thank all the people at Tulane and in the community beyond who've helped make today possible. Can all the people who were on the organizing committee or community partners who tabled or involved in putting this on raise your hand or stand up and be acknowledged? It was a lot of people I think have given up already, and the crowds are thinning since this morning, but it's been a long day. But it's just, for me, it's been a thrill to be a part of this effort because it seemed effortless. Everybody has worked and contributed funds, time, expertise, and so on. It's just come together in ways that to me were really thrilling and gratifying. So thank you all. I'm extraordinarily pleased that so many people came to this event today, so many classes, so many students. It's been a huge education for me and fabulous. I wanted to do two things in my comments, and I wanted to depress you first and help you become aware of how serious the situation is that I think we don't always realize. And then secondly, I want to share with you the hope that I have for everything we can do, you students, we can do at Tulane and beyond. So, I mean, the science is solid. We're seeing unprecedented increases in temperatures globally in the oceans. They are threatening our agricultural systems. They're pushing the planet towards tipping points. They're already causing massive flooding that's killing people, wiping out crops. I don't have to give you examples. I mean, they're just in the news all the time. I know you get your news, and I mean, Baton Rouge 2 summers ago, New Orleans and Houston and Puerto Rico and the Bahamas and on this past summer, and so on. The crazy storms, wildfires have been wiping out homes in California, killing people, killing firefighters, taking away some of the ability of plants to sequester carbon that would help give us some time to deal with climate change issues. The oceans, I don't know if we've talked about the oceans enough, but they're warming, they're rising at an accelerating rate, they're flooding coastal cities, they're generating more powerful level 4 and 5 hurricanes like Katrina, Sandy, and Nargis, which I heard about, and it was in Myanmar in 2008. I heard about from Timmons Roberts' talk this morning, that killed 138,000 people. Dead zones are spreading throughout the oceans globally, inhibiting our ability to feed growing populations of humans. Coral reefs are bleaching and dying across the world. I mean, the issues in the oceans alone are horrific. All this adds on to other global change problems humans are causing, like pollution and so on, that are exacerbating these problems. These problems are interacting with each other and making things worse. It's not just climate change. The people most affected by all of this are not the ones who caused the problems in the first place. So social justice, equity, climate justice issues are important, as we discussed much of the day earlier today, to keep these in mind. And we're not just threatening humans, but the biological inheritance. This is something I care deeply about because it's what I study. But models now project that if we keep on the path we're on, we will drive to extinction over 50% of the 10 million or so species of organisms on the planet. And that is just a horrible thought to me to contemplate. And this threatens our own existence because we depend on the other organisms on this planet to live and survive ourselves. So we're essentially committing collective suicide. We're cutting off the branch of the tree that we're standing on. This is crazy. So having said those negative things, the challenges of climate change are indeed daunting. They're daunting to me, I get it. However, I have great hope and will act on that hope as long as I possibly can, as long as I'm alive and breathing and sentient. I have great hope in you young people, students. You give me the most hope, and I really believe in what you are doing and can doing. I mean, I don't have a simple answer for what we can do, because there is no simple answer, but there are a lot of answers. As has been mentioned throughout the day and what we're all about here today is education. It's critical. I believe that climate change intersects just about, if not every discipline on campus in many ways. Political science, economics, sociology, law, philosophy, the sciences, environmental studies, communication, psychology, public health, engineering, all the arts, all of these fields are important to addressing this problem and are influenced by what goes on. Tulane can and must become more engaged in addressing climate change and other related issues. Climate change intersects many wicked problems that we face, and they've been talked about earlier today. Racism, classism, sexism, ethnocentrism, and so on. The stakes are particularly high for Tulane and New Orleans because we're a coastal city, we're vulnerable to coastal storms, we're vulnerable to non-named flooding events that have done so much damage to people and property in the last few summers and have become very conspicuous. And we also live in a fossil fuel state. We must work together with diverse governments at all levels. We must work with diverse NGOs and community partners, strengthening them, helping them run them, benefiting from all their wisdom and activism. Tulane is a national leader in community engagement among universities, including our mandatory two-tiered service learning requirement, which some of you may hate, but I think it's a really fantastic program that helps distinguish Tulane. And you've seen all the fantastic organizations tabling outside the hall, and those are some of the organizations that I think if we work with more closely, we can help address problems that we are mutually share concern about. There are incredible opportunities throughout campus for students, faculty, staff, and administrators, all of us, to work together. For example, getting to Tulane to net zero on carbon emissions, as was discussed earlier this morning by Patrick Norton, the Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the university. However, we're going to need a lot more than just personal actions. We need to fix our institutions, create new ones. Business as usual has not worked for so many people for generations in communities throughout the US and globally. We need new social movements. And when our leadership fails us, we need to be our own leaders, as Catherine Hayhoe stressed in her talk, working from the bottom up to force our leaders to make the changes that we want them to do. We need to put journalists interested in the truth back in respected positions that they deserve in society. We need journalists and all manner of people who can tell their stories to the people who need to hear the stories. We need to address the political gridlock that's preventing us from reaching solutions on just about anything and get to the root of the forces that are causing this gridlock. Run for public office. Make changes. The economic forces, including our own materialism and our own use of fossil fuels, are daunting challenges to get off of these things. But I believe we're up to the challenge working together in communities from New Orleans out to the entire globe. I urge all of you to make every day Climate Change Action Day. Don't stop here. Learn about the issues, become educated, act on them in respectful and fair ways to people and the rest of nature. This is your world to inherit, your world that you share with so many other cool species and other people. You can make it a better place for every inhabitant of the planet. I trust you to do that, so carry on. And I think John Alexander is going to introduce you and take over from here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Professor Sherry. So I'm John Alexander, and I'm the Director of Sustainability for the Undergraduate Student Government. I'll talk more about that at the end. But in the student panel, we'll be introducing different student organizations on campus, ways to get involved, what you can do actively to, obviously, the name of this is Student Call to Action. What can you do? So the whole point is getting people more active in the fight against climate change, getting more people engaged with their environmental activities on campus, and really just being the change that we wanted to see out of this, and continuing that on, making this a current pushing forward. So, without further ado, here are some of the student panelists. Go for it. Just talk to the mic.
Okay. Turn it on. It's on. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Cool. So my name's Rachel. I'm a senior at Tulane in the Ecology and Evolutionary Bio department. And the club that I'm president of is called Food Justice Advocates. So a lot of what we do is volunteer work with community partners who are supporting like local food movements and being in control of the food that you are eating. And just some of the partners that we've worked with and continue to work with are Top Box, that was actually started by a former Tulane student. It brings boxes of fresh produce to churches and communities that live in food deserts. We work with Recirculating Farms, which has a really cool like aquaponic system and donates a lot of food to the New Orleans mission. And they actually started a garden at the mission as well. So just two examples of partners that are really like helping to address like food access issues in the city. So it's cool to work with different farms, Sankofa Market, which is the only market in the 9th Ward. And I can list a bunch of other examples, but mainly just community partners in the city who are really trying to take control of their own food and growing locally. And not that that in itself is going to change the planet or reverse climate change, but just a small step of reducing like food miles that food is traveling to get to you. And a lot of times too, we do help garden in these urban farms and urban gardens and help build backyard gardens for people with Greenlight. And if you're interested in gardening and starting your own garden at your house or even like a container garden, it's really great to work directly with farmers who know a lot of information and can help you get started. And yeah, starting your own garden at your house as well. So yeah, I think that's mainly what we do. I would have loved for this club to have had a focus on policy issues as well, and maybe like one of you who is more politically inclined would help that. But Recirculating Farms is a really cool initiative that really does focus on policy issues in the city. And a lot of the farms that we've worked with really do have issues in the city with having urban farms, with zoning issues, and we've had a lot of farmers have to move plots, and which is just terrible, having to restart your whole garden. So definitely issues in relation to that. And if you have any other partners you want to work with or ideas, like definitely contact us. You can like us on Facebook, join the org sync, come to me directly, and I'll put you on the email list. But our email is foodjusticeadvocates@gmail.com. So yeah, you can email that as well. Or I think those are the main ways to reach us. So.
Hi everyone, my name is Darcy. I'm the president of the Tulane Beekeeping Club. And so we have a hive that we visit every couple weeks right off campus. It's our very own hive that we set up at an alum's house a couple years ago. So basically we bring students there and introduce them to the basics of beekeeping and what it looks like and what everything means. And then in addition to that, we hold events on campus, which are, documentary screenings and honey harvests, and we did chapstick making last semester. So basically, one of our, I think, larger missions is to sort of raise awareness of the perils of the bee that the honeybee is facing in North America, and like what students can do to help that. So we're also probably going to pair with the Food Justice Advocates later in the semester to do some sort of bee-friendly planting. So yeah, and also when a previous member of our club worked with the facilities at Tulane and an organization called the Pollinator Project to stop the use of neonicotinoids on Tulane's quads, because that's a pesticide that heavily contributes to colony collapse disorder in honeybees. And so I'm pretty sure we're still neonicotide free, which is pretty cool. So yeah, we do that, and we partner kind of with local beekeepers in the New Orleans Beekeepers Club and at the zoo, and we've toured some of their hives to just kind of keep a dialogue going and raise awareness about what's going on. And if you're interested in joining or in visiting our hive, you can also contact us at our email, which is tulanebeekeeping@gmail.com, or like us on Facebook, or we just got an Instagram. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Noah. I'm here representing Divest Tulane. Divest Tulane is a fossil fuel divestment campaign. It's part of a larger network of fossil fuel divestment campaigns that have expanded globally, really. And the main kind of goal of fossil fuel divestment is to encourage institutions to remove any large investments of their endowment from the fossil fuel industry. This is just to encourage the financial profile of any institution that kind of has an important impact to represent upstanding values financially and kind of where they put their dollar. So in terms of what the day-to-day engagement with the divestment campaign looks like, it has historically looked a lot like negotiating with this administration and talking about what the investment portfolio looks like of this university, what the potential changes could be, kind of doing sort of preliminary financial analyses of what goes into the university and how they choose to spend and distribute the endowment fund that represents so much of kind of our contribution as students and the contribution of alumni. This has been historically really political and charged and interesting and really, really fascinating conversation to continue between the students and the administration. But Divest has also kind of branched out and made partners with the community. As we've talked about all day today, there are numerous intersections between social justice in general and climate justice, especially in this state, especially in this region of the state, but really kind of all over the world. So Divest has a lot of partners throughout the city that work on different levels of social justice that intersect with climate justice. We meet amazing communities that are fighting kind of to create a better, more sustainable, in every sense of the word, city. So we've partnered with the Fight for 15 a lot. We've partnered with the Union of Hospitality Workers and just kind of found out where the intersection of climate justice and labor justice, the intersection of racial justice and climate justice meet, and what we can do as political actors to be a part of the solution. So if you would like to join this conversation, it's a very kind of, I've been thinking about this all day, but there is a theorist who said that the act of theorizing is political in and of itself. And I think that the idea that we kind of sit around and talk about what world we would like to see and then meet the other communities in New Orleans that are acting upon that and then continue those conversations with the power structures that are in place upholding a fossil fuel financially driven structure. We would love to have you. You're more than welcome to find us on Facebook, and you are more than welcome to email us at divesttulane@gmail.com. We'd love to have you.
All right, I'm Allison Wolverton, and I'm here with Food Recovery Network. So what Food Recovery Network does is we go into Bruff at 10 p.m. when it's closing, and we recover all of the food that they were going to throw out. So every night, that can be from 100 to 200, sometimes more, pounds of food. And we collect mashed potatoes and soup and rice and vegetables and meat and put them in these giant Tupperware containers. And just seeing how much food that would have literally gone straight into the trash can is unbelievable. We'll have an entire cart filled with like 100 meals worth of food that they literally would have thrown out if someone from Food Recovery didn't show up, package it, and put it in their refrigerator. Because in the morning, a homeless shelter, New Orleans Mission, comes and picks it up, and I think Bruff's leftovers end up providing like 30% of the meals that they serve in a given week. So in terms of environmental impact, obviously we're tackling two problems at once, food waste and hunger. So not only do you have to think about how much food is going into the landfill, causing pollution and all of these other things, but how many resources we're drawing from the earth to produce that food in the first place. And America's a huge overconsumer, overproducer of food, clothing, raw materials, whatever it is. And so we have hundreds of pounds of food every night in just one school cafeteria that would completely go to waste. It's super important that we divert those resources into a place where they're actually used. So if you want to get involved, you can sign up with us on OrgSync, follow us on Facebook, and we have an Excel sheet where you can just sign up, come once a month, once a semester, every night of the week, whatever you want. It's 20 minutes at 10 o'clock to help package and save all of that food. And if we get enough manpower this semester, we would love to start expanding to recovering on weekend nights as well. So that would be 2 more days of food, maybe even the LBC one day, like gourmet, whatever else on campus there are possibilities. But that takes manpower. So follow us on OrgSync and you'll get the emails.
Hello. All right. Hi, I'm Patricia. I'm the president of Green Club. We're pretty much the all-encompassing environmental club on campus. So we do a lot of community building and educational meetings talking about different aspects of like environmental issues. So, and how we can like combat them. So we have a lot of documentary screenings. We're bringing in some speakers this semester. We're gonna do a zero waste workshop this coming month. And we love to co-program with other clubs. So if you're ever interested in doing something environmental, we're more than happy to plan that with you guys. In the past, we've always done clothing swaps, and the donations from the clothing swaps go to environmental organizations. We also visited the recycling facility in New Orleans last semester, which was really interesting because we don't often get to see what actually happens with recycling. And yeah, we do volunteering on weekends sometimes too at local farms. So yeah, we just do all things with the environment. And if you're interested in getting involved, you can find us on OrgSync or email us at tugreenclub@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Dara, and I'm representing Tulane Veggie Club. So we're just a group of environmentally minded students that practice environmentally friendly eating habits. And so not all of us label ourselves as vegan, but we try to be conscious about the food that we're putting in our body and the food that the people around us are also putting in their bodies. And so we also co-program with Green Club and other organizations like PETA and vegan New Orleans restaurants like Breads on Oak and some bakeries that make vegan goods. And we try to do a lot of tabling on the Tulane campus to get students just thinking about what they're eating and to know that what you eat really has an impact on the world, and what we produce has an impact. And so we do a lot of tabling, giving out free vegan cheese or baked goods, things like that, just to let people know that it's out there and it's being tried by people and sometimes they like it. So yeah, we do a lot of work just trying to get the message out there, and like Noah said, just thinking and talking about things that you can do every day to improve our environmental condition is important. And so I think that Veggie Club is a great way for people who are trying to make a daily effort to reduce their consumption to come together and talk about it and learn and educate other people.
Hi, is this on? Okay. My name is Emily Workman. I am a second-year student at Tulane Law School, and I am here promoting the Environmental Law Summit that is taking place March 9th and 10th. If you're interested in the law and seeing how you can address environmental issues from a legal perspective, this is a perfect event to come to. It's a 2-day event with over 20 panels, over 75 panelists, discussing issues ranging from the Louisiana and the Gulf Coast to new frontiers in energy, and just other miscellaneous issues like an update on the Endangered Species Act and pushing environmental agendas in the age of Trump and the current administration. It's going to be a great event. It's the first night we have Jean-Michel Cousteau coming to speak about marine environmental issues. He's the president of Ocean Future Society. Also, we are having for the second night Maya Van Rossum come and speak at 4 o'clock on Saturday. She is an attorney from Delaware Riverkeeper, and she addresses a lot of environmental legal issues from a local perspective instead of relying on state and federal governments to find these solutions for people. And then you can also get CLE credit if you're a practicing attorney. It doesn't look like there are too many non-faculty people in here, but that's just information for you. It's free and open to the public, so invite your friends, invite whoever would like to come. It's really an interesting event. You can register on the website and find out a lot more information about it. You can find out my contact information on there as well. My name is Emily again. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else, but the website is TulaneEnvironmentalLawSummit.com. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Grace Cushing. I'm Aaliyah Daniels, and we're interns in the Office of Sustainability at Tulane. So we do a lot to promote sustainability on campus through different projects, which Aaliyah will talk about, but also through programs. We try and monitor the recycling and trash situation on campus, working with various facility workers. We also are working with dining services to promote the Aussie container, reusable containers, which is just extended to the LBC. And do you want to say?
Yeah, so in terms of on-campus programming, we do a lot of kind of public education and encouraging people to reduce their waste and reduce their consumption. So let me get closer. So through Recycle Mania, we focus on the dorms and getting people to reduce their waste and recycle in the dorms. And we do Tulane Unplugged, which focuses on reducing your energy consumption. And through that, we have energy advocates, and that's a really good way to get involved in sustainability on campus. If you're starting, if this is just kind of your first foray into sustainability, you can be an energy advocate, and that's kind of like a dorm captain, and you actually have the responsibility to go through your dorm and put up signs and educate people about why reducing their energy is such a big thing, and that's a really exciting program that we do. And then we also do tailgating at the football games. We go through and we collect like cans and things that need to be recycled, and that's always a fun and exciting thing to do on the football games. And we have Earth Day events. Last year we had in Pocket Park outside of the LBC, we had community partners and other on-campus groups come and table, and we had a big thing for Earth Day. And upcoming in March, I believe, we have a sustainability movie night in City Diner, so you guys should all check that out too.
And so a big part of the office is like if any students are interested in doing like a sustainability project, we are here to help kind of like facilitate between students and the administration and help in any way we can if you're interested at all. So you can check out our website, green.tulane.edu, or send us an email.
Great. So can we get a round of applause for the student leaders? Great. So to go into a little bit more of my role as the Director of Sustainability for the student government, my role is to really represent the student voice in everything the student government does. So whether that be passing a piece of legislation on styrofoam, which we did this year, and if you've noticed, City Diner no longer uses styrofoam. Yeah? Pretty great. And different things that we have done, we passed legislation this year in support of banning plastic bags from campus, have been meeting with different partners, different groups on campus, from the bookstore to management of the LBC to the Office of Sustainability repeatedly, to different people all around campus. We're really just trying to be a positive force for sustainability and acting on behalf of the students. So that's what the student government does generally. More specifically with Sustainability Committee, a couple members of the committee are here, already up here. But we try to head up projects that will be intersectional with what they target. So when we work with the Office of Sustainability, we're working on very targeted projects. When we're working with facilities, they can be a little less targeted, but still very sustainable. So Dara has actually worked on projects with water fountains and trying to find a standardized unit so we don't backlog parts for 10 different types of units that we don't need. We can actually find one unit that we need, backlog parts for just that, and have a standard set across our entire campus. Some of the things that we try to do, identifying strengths and weaknesses of sustainability at Tulane. Obviously, there are a lot of people that do sustainability at Tulane, and we all love the factors that we do. I tend to be more on the policy end of things, loving to do policy. You can love to be a beekeeper. You can love to gather food. You can love to talk about divestment and actively pressure the administration. There are so many different ways to get involved with sustainability at Tulane, and it really just comes down to finding your niche. And overall, it's all about the little projects you do that add up over time to this massive, massive change. So if we're constantly pushing for these little things and these little things as a part of our entire larger goal of creating a more sustainable, more environmentally friendly, more conscious Tulane, that's what it's all about. It's about creating that systemic change at Tulane so that we can be a more environmentally friendly, more accountable, and more just university when it comes to nature, the environment, and everything that we deal with here. So, with that note, I'd like to invite everyone to head outside, meet with some of the community organizers and businesses we have here, as well as meeting with all of the student leaders, finding ways to get involved, plugged into the New Orleans environmental atmosphere, and everything else. So thank you.